Okay, we're still here at the Fed building. We got another activist with us, and he's going to give us his opinion on the escalation of the war with over 30,000 troops going now with Obama's speech. What do you think of Obama's speech?
I really didn't pay attention to Obama's speech, but I think I got the grasp about the surge and the building up the troops. But my main message is that Afghanistan is not a good war. There's no good war. We didn't have the right to invade Iraq, and we never had the right to invade Afghanistan. It's against international law to invade foreign countries. And not only that, but there's no actual logical reason for us to be in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda now is spread throughout the world in multiple countries. And the planning for 9/11 was in the United States, Germany, Afghanistan. Just by neutralizing Afghanistan, we're not going to get rid of Al-Qaeda.
Well, it's perpetuating supposedly what they want to term terrorism. In other words, the people are actually don't want Americans in their country, but now we're calling them all terrorists.
Right.
Does that sound correct?
That is my feeling, that we're making things worse.
Yeah.
We have to look at the roots of terrorism.
Yeah.
The roots of terrorism is because we are interfering in other countries' affairs, telling them what to do, establishing dictatorships, and people get angry and they become terrorists because after many years of fighting through democracy, nothing gets accomplished. So by us being in Afghanistan, we're just developing a new generation of terrorists from the Middle East, Asia, and so on. So we're in there for all the wrong reasons.
Now, what do you think all the money that it's going to cost the United States when people here are homeless, they can't pay their bills?
Yes, Nicholas Kristof just had a few editorials in the New York Times, open editorials, and he's making the point, the money that we're spending on the military in Afghanistan, with that kind of money, I think for 40,000 troops, he was saying, we could eliminate, I believe he was talking about hunger in the world by feeding the children, spending that money. The money that we're spending on the military, we could spend it to improve education, get rid of hunger in the world. So what would be the result? More education, less terrorism, more goodwill in the world about the United States.
Yeah. Do you think that the United States government is just a select few that are making all the decisions, or is it because Congress seems to vote everything these people want, right? Or some of the people in Congress. Do you have a feeling of, is there some particular group that might be controlling this?
No, I don't think there's groups. I don't believe in conspiracies.
Okay.
I think it's just the general structure of society, which is dominated by the power structure, which is the large corporations, the large business interests, and they kind of dictate the long-term policy of the United States, which has been, how can we get resources from abroad? How can we get a hold of the oil resources, the energy resources, and that has dominated the long-term policy of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's not a group of people, it is just the basic business interest of the United States.
But it has to do with the corporations.
But it has to deal with the corporations, with the military. The military has obtained a life of itself, where they start affecting policy.
Because we have what we call a war economy, right? We've been fighting all these wars, and the military complexes keep making big money.
Right. And we have the Halliburtons making a lot of money. We have the Carlyle making a lot of company. General Electric, which is a military machinery.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of businesses that are making money out of the military.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty disgusting, in my opinion, that all these people in Afghanistan and Iraq. And what do you think now that we look back at Iraq, at the reason we invaded Iraq, because they did not have weapons of mass destruction. There was no connection to Al-Qaeda. There was no connection to 9/11, but we killed over 1 million people.
Right. If you look back at it, why did we have to invade Iraq? There was no weapons of mass destruction. So again, it was mostly to get a hold of the energy resources in the region, to get a control of the region, and I think Israel had something to do with it. They wanted to have additional control of the region, so all the people that backed up Israel and the United States, they went along and we invaded Iraq for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because Israel, along with AIPAC, who controls our Congress, right, and we can ask any of our legislators how much power they have, and they can even write some of the legislation for our own Congress people, and they just sign it. So you're absolutely correct. Israel does have a big impact of what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the long term, if you see the trends in society, the trends have been to continue to subsidize these kind of programs of machinery, building weapons, the military industry, and to reduce programs that help the people, like education, like health. And this is why we have today the economic crisis that we're seeing, because on the long term we have decreased services to help the people, and we have increased subsidies for the big corporations.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Anything else you want to comment on?
We need the troops to come back home. We need to return the social welfare back towards education, back towards healthcare, and stop invading other countries.
Excellent. Great. Thank you very much
Great.
for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.